recording.
So we have, I don't know when was the last time you talked to Tim, the prosecutor? It's been a while. Okay. So right now we have served a total of 11 search warrants. We have received almost returns on half of them. Not everything. The talk screen, we haven't received that yet, but we did get some information on the car. And the car is normal. There were no defects. We had a forensic mechanic look it over. There were no issues whatsoever with that. Also, medically, pursuant to 2 search warrants, there is nothing to indicate that Mackenzie at the time of the crash or immediately before the crash had any type of medical condition that would have caused the crash. So at this point, we're waiting for the talk screen to look at whether it's OVI related or something else. Now, when you and I talked before in the first time, you indicated that you thought this wasn't just an OVI, that there was something else.
She told me just the other day that they weren't fucked up. I asked her, why didn't you ask me to come get you? And she said, we weren't fucked up or anything, quote unquote. I don't have it in writing. I only have it orally said to me at the cemetery. So that's what she said.
Do you still believe that theory that there was something more sinister than, any type of impairment involved?
The only thing that to me, I don't know if there's a lot of rumors. I think a lot of people are lying about things. My understanding from one of the kids that the dad that you talked to that stated that she was sleeping and all that and all, I don't even know if that dad was there.
He wasn't. Okay. The dad was in New York.
So so I don't know how he could state that, but
he's getting that from his son's statement.
Right.
Okay.
And the son, the kid came here, in fact, in this exact room with the parents, and the kid said he went to sleep.
Okay.
But
no, I thought they said Kenzie was sleeping.
Yeah, the kid said he went to sleep at 1. He woke up around 3 to use the bathroom, and she was asleep while everybody else was watching South Park. And so, unfortunately, that we haven't been able to corroborate because everybody who was at the party is very uncooperative and they practically lawyered up and refusing to talk. The only kid who voluntarily talked to us from Dominic and Mackenzie's friends was Blair, and Blair spoke to me in the presence of his lawyer, and he wasn't very forthcoming, and I kind of put that in my report. I told him, Miss Russo said you're one of Dominic's best friends.
Well, he said that you sat there and thought that they were going to all commit suicide together. That's ridiculous.
No, we did not say that. That's not what we said. We asked him if he knew. I was inquiring whether he had any information that, Dominic might have told him, like, hey, Kenzie's crazy, she might have done this, or she might have, I'm afraid for my life with her.
You should talk to my son Angelo. I mean, that's the problem. She threatened him constantly. I told you, it was 1 week before we had to pick him up on the highway when she threatened to crash the car then. Okay? It's not, I was on with Dom. She sat there and texted me, Dom was out of control. Dom was very calm. Said, Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's threatening to crash the car.
We did see those.
Yeah, that's one of the things we wanted to bring up was that text conversation between you and her, and then her and Dom. We got 2 sides of it. Did Dom tell you that he grabbed the wheel and jerked it like she alleged?
No.
Okay, so when you're on the phone with Dom, to your knowledge, he never grabbed the wheel. It was just her freaking out.
Right. They were on the side of the road, and she said, I'm calling the police if you don't get him. And I said, I'm on the phone saying she can call the police all she wants, but we are on our way. What are the police going to do? Okay. So that was that. They were on the side of the road.
What
they
started
were not
that
driving.
fight? You don't know?
The suicide.
And I didn't get involved just because I always said that I don't want to have my kids not or think that I don't like her, I didn't like her, whatever. So then so that they wouldn't, be able to come to me. I just said, Dom, I know you're gonna get back together. I'm not getting in the middle. I just said, no. All I kept saying was, there never should be fighting in the car. That's all I said. You don't fight in the car. Okay. And I didn't even in detail read her bullshit and her rants, because I don't really give a shit what she had to say at that point.
Okay. So just to clarify, me looking into the possibility that there was a potentially suicide involved on her behalf, not just recklessness, is based on the presumption that there was something more sinister than an OVI. And I kind of got that from you. I consider you to be more reliable than the average, given your profession and the fact that you kind of are experienced within the legal system. So when you tell me, hey, this is not just an OVI, I'm going to give it some more thought. And so I was hoping that some of the friends would say, hey, yeah, you know what? Dom did in private text me, that, hey, she's crazy, she tried to do this, and maybe Blair just doesn't want to talk.
Dom's not a real, you have to understand, he doesn't do a lot of social media, he doesn't do a lot of texting, even him and I, it's more on the phone where you pick up the phone and talk. So he would not be texting friends that. I do know, which again would be hearsay, that Blair said that she has driven crazy before. He never liked her driving. I asked him if you had gotten into that.
I asked, and he said
maybe
once.
He misunderstood. Well, I don't know that Dom drove a lot. Dom was a very safe, slow driver. I mean, so not that he hasn't gotten a speeding ticket here and there on the highway. I'm not saying that. But after my surgery, it was a lot easier for me to drive with him than my other son, just because I was in so much pain, and he was just really more like an old man driving than, Angelo. So, and not anything against Ange, but that's just, he's more jerky of a driver, than Dom was. It could be the vehicle too, but.
When I asked those questions to Blair, first of all, Blair was very off. Clearly, his mom with the attorney were, we had the interview at the attorney's house, which is a bit unusual. But I asked him if he was a passenger ever with Mackenzie driving. He said once. I'm like, I kind of found that hard to believe, that you've only driven once. And I asked him if he had any concerns about his safety, because again, other people have said, or through the rumor mill, we got the whole idea that she's a reckless driver. Some kids didn't feel safe with her, including her best friend Rosie, who her dad wouldn't let us, talk to her. She wouldn't talk to us. Landon Turner wouldn't talk to us. All these people who were at the party that night, with the exception of Paul Burlinghouse, nobody else is talking. And all of them kind of either involved their parents and or lawyers. And so we're kind of, at this point, the prosecutor, I did let Tim know, and Tim took their names, and chances are they're going to be subpoenaed for a grand jury. And so are they going to talk? Yeah, eventually they're going to talk. Maybe not to me, but they're going to have to answer some questions to Tim. And we're relaying all that information.
How does that work with juveniles? Are these juveniles?
No, they're 18 now.
Okay.
Yes, they're off to college. So Rosie's in OU.
It seemed like Mackenzie was one of the younger friends in that group, and she turned 3 days after the accident. So I think everybody else had turned just before her.
Right. So I'm not gonna lie to you. They're the parents are also, some of the parents don't want to get in the middle of this, but I think these kids who are at the Burling house that night have important information to tell us.
Yeah, none of them are, and you have to realize Dom and Davion went because of Kenzie.
Right.
I mean, Davion might have known the people because he just graduated, but
we know Kenzie and Rosie planned that night because Rosie and Burlinghouse are like best friends.
Okay.
So they were there on behalf of Mackenzie.
So Dom was tagging along.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And Dom was tagging along. So we are, we did ask those questions, and again, nobody's willing to talk. It's all hearsay. Hey, so and so says, Kenzie is a bad driver. We never want to be in the car with her. But
a couple people
nobody, came up and said 1, 2, 3. We had 4 or 5 people who came in voluntarily, gave statements, and they were good statements. But the people we wanted to talk to, they kind of put up those roadblocks. So I noticed that there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie. And a lot of times, you know, at some point there was some I love you exchanges, you know, so maybe she felt comfortable. But can you tell me what the relationship was like between Dom and Kenzie?
Well, Dom was kind of more private with me regarding their arguments, but my son Angelo said that she would threaten him all the time.
How old's Angelo now?
23 or 24.
Okay. And Chris is 26?
6, yeah. And how this all came up, so you know the background. I hope nobody's going to listen to this recording.
No, absolutely. Well,
Tim,
Okay,
the prosecutor.
well, I didn't like Angelo's girlfriend, okay? And didn't really want her around and stuff, and it caused kind of an issue. And he blew up on me one day saying that Kenzie drives Dom crazy and is horrible, and you like her and you'll accept her, but you don't like my girl. And and he would say that all Dom's problems were because of her and him being upset. And I needed to realize that she wasn't as sweet and innocent as I thought she was. But the girl had no problem sitting with me, look me in the eye. A lot of these girls can't look me in the eye, and that right there bothers me.
yeah.
You can't look at me and you can't talk to me. I feel that there's something more. Kenzie was always okay with that, you know, came in wet, had no problems walking in my house, and it was, you know what I mean? And I just,
That made it easier to like her because you didn't
and
feel
she was
like
always
she was
right, and she, you know, she came over for holidays, and they'd include me and things like that, you know, and I just figured maybe she just needs to grow up. She's young. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that it's gonna come to this.
What were your vibes, your motherly instincts? What did you feel around Kenzie, especially in the presence of Dominic? Was she genuine, or you know?
She was everything that you can tell by her. Everything's all about her. If you notice, prom pictures. Every single time we try to get a picture, she's all over my son, so I can't even get one without her in it.
Yeah.
He catered to her. She claimed she had a gluten-free problem or something, and I would make dinner, and then I would be questioned on, was the stuff okay for her diet because her stomach, and if I didn't have everything that would have complied with her stomach diet, whatever it was, I never believed it, he would cook for her separate, always. And she's a slob. She never cleaned. Her mother's house is a slob. My house isn't the greatest either, but I'm just saying, it's just, you know, if Dom's gonna cook for you, do the dishes. Clean up after yourself. Do you know what I mean? That sort of a thing. But everything was always about her. I mean, like I said, even with her parents. I want you to know that her aunt works for Doug Brill Mill. I have to ask David. I'm not sure exactly what the lawyer's name is. It's a Lorain County lawyer, but she's the one that set up the GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah,
works
we're
for
aware
them.
of that.
Okay.
Yes, so while Kenzie was in the hospital, they were already making up stories.
Right.
Okay, as to what happened.
Mhm.
But the deer, the epilepsy, the seizure, down to a bunch of other stuff. I had not breathed a word about the mushroom story, not a word to anybody. But I had already heard, oh, well, those had to be Dom's because she was a juvenile and she was holding his drugs because she was a juvenile. If anybody knows Dom, Dom would take a hit before he would put somebody else in harm's way.
Right.
So this is all that's been fabricated per Tim's request, and I feel bad. Known the girl forever. I mean, I can't imagine what she's feeling like. Whether she did it on purpose, as she claims, she knows nothing. She remembers nothing, and She did say,
You've kept in contact with her since?
yes, she did say something that was pretty damning the other day.
Have you seen her in person or just over
I've just seen her twice at the cemetery.
twice at the center? How does she
Yeah.
get there? Can she drive?
Her
How is
mother takes her in the,
is she in a wheelchair still?
yeah, she
Okay.
can only put weight on her left leg,
Okay.
and then she's supposed to start some physical therapy.
Okay.
And then I've also kept in touch because she's dangling photos, she's dangling videos, and, you know, like when she just pieces one or two out instead of saying, I think you'd enjoyed it. Like we were at the cemetery and we had this bee problem between the two of us. I still have the bee problem. The bee people are coming today. But Dom had called me about the bees, and I don't know what she was recording, but it's all his voice, at least I, you know, because it has his voice. And so she finally sends me that one. But it's like, you know, she's just
Playing on your emotions.
yeah.
So where was she living the last few months?
Oh, that was it. That was it. That was the whole conversation. I can find it. So she'd been begging me to come over to the house because, you know, we live between the two houses because with Christopher's mental illness, Dom couldn't.
What did you say about Chris?
Christopher's this mental illness.
What's he gonna have going on?
He has he's been in and out of Oakview. He's
Okay.
got like he imagines stuff like he called the police the one day claiming Don had threatened him, and we're all sitting there and the
Okay.
police are like,
And I don't want to get away
off
from
track.
what you're talking about, but I
But
did see. I want to touch on. There was some text about Dom and Chris having a rough relationship.
yeah, that's why Dom started sleeping a lot next door, even
Okay.
though he still maintained his room and lived with me, but because of that, like I said, Chris called the police on him several times. I'm sure you've got a record of it, claiming this and that. Now,
Okay.
the one day I was in the hospital, Dom was just outside, wanted to get back in to eat breakfast in the house. I have a broken window still from it. Christopher had locked him out and called the police and said Dom was outside threatening, which wasn't true. Then I'm there, I'm out of the hospital now. Chris calls again and says Dom threatened him. I'm sitting right there, and I'm like, whatever. Cops come, 4 deep or whatever. They talk to Chris. They eventually take him to Oakview because they had realized that he wasn't processing what was really happening.
Is he on meds?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So let's get back to Kenzie.
So why I'm saying all
Yeah.
this was because she's begging me to go over there into that house where he had set up his business and his studio and the things that he was doing, you know, whatever with his job. And I said I'm not touching that stuff. I don't know why she wants to, but then she wanted to take some of his clothes, and then I found out she had a bag of his clothes at her house, and then she says to me, well, I don't understand, you know, why I couldn't go in there where I've been staying for the last 4 months or something, which gave you the living on the own thing, okay? Now, mind you, mother, I check and see when the car comes home. I check and see it's there.
And we
The
see
night
that,
of the
yeah.
incidents, I had assumed he was home, his car was there. They rarely would take Kenzie's car. Now, they did take it to Florida because she has the better gas mileage or whatever. The two of them went together with the mother, with her mom.
Hold on. So when they drove to Florida, her mom was with them.
Yeah, they traveled together. Yeah, in 2 separate cars though.
Yeah.
So they had 2 vehicles, so the mom could take the daughter and do different things.
Gotcha.
At Universal, but they piggybacked together.
Gotcha.
So, because I was nervous about that, I said, oh, geez, you know what I mean? They had planned this. I just got out of the hospital. This was like right around Easter. But then my ex and Angela went, so they met them down there too. So I had a little bit sense okay and kept in touch, and then they came home. But she says that I've been staying there or living there for the last so many months. I have it in a text message since I don't know if your subpoena keeps going through
And
to back up after that.
gotcha. So so you can confirm that she has stayed, even as a juvenile, at the time. She has been staying
Oh,
outside
yeah,
her
and
parents'
the point
house.
of all of that is the fact that the mom never said, "Are the kids home?" She never checked in with me ever. The only time they would ever come over would be once in a blue moon to drop something off or to take pictures for some event. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kenzie, I mean, Dom took her to Polaris. Dom made sure she made it to school. Mom didn't do any of that. Okay, so it was all Dom. You know, other than her, obviously, if she could walk to the high school.
How long they been together?
They said 4 years. I don't I didn't know that it was quite that long, but that's what he said, and that's what he told Angelo, that he didn't want to he felt that it had been four years.
When did you notice her coming around? Give or take.
Oh, it's been a few years.
It's
Oh,
been
for
a
sure.
few
Yeah,
years?
it didn't
Okay.
just happen. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Like maybe when they first started dating, they were really young then. Dom wasn't probably driving even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I
right.
probably didn't see much of her.
Dom ever talk about her driving or her, ever, mention anything to you about, I don't feel safe getting in a car with this girl or anything of that sort?
Like I said, he has stated that she's crazy, that he was concerned about her driving, and clearly that was mentioned before, and I don't know exact language because I didn't remember that I would have to remember, was the day on the highway the week before, which was and I'll never, and you said, how do you remember? Well, I know, I had testing the next day, I was sick, it was raining, I remember everything about it because I had to go to the hospital the next morning. So nobody could say, oh, you just don't remember that day. No, I do. I remember it clear as a bell.
And
And then she sent her dad over to get her purse out of the house and blah, 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 And it was, I just said, it's just straight to the dad, this is just stupid.
Did they fight a lot?
According to my son, Angelo, yes, they were fighting quite a bit.
Would you mind us talking to Angelo?
Would he be willing
I
to talk?
actually, if you didn't make it, I mean, he's sort of lately been having a tough time getting up in the morning. Just, I think it started, he was really strong for me through all of this. But if you could make it a little bit later in the day, I
we could.
bring
Absolutely.
it up.
We're still going through her phone. So the search warrant we got through her phone, there's 80 gigabytes of data.
Her and
Between
Dom had
31,000 text messages or exchanges, which is, that's an astronomical
That's
number.
ridiculous.
That's why it's taking us forever to get to these interviews.
Yeah, she's more of a texter than Dom is.
Right.
Like I said, me and Dom rarely text. I mean, I might say I love you or whatever, but he would, he usually would call. And that was more his style, than.
One thing that came up with when I talked to Blair was the goodbye messages and the phone call from Dom the wee hours of the morning of the crash. He said Dom FaceTimed with him or called, but Blair was asleep, so he missed the call. And he's pretty torn over this because he's like, I wish I was awake to know what he wanted, because that's that mystery that he'll never know. And so he said, according to him, that Dom sent like I love you type messages to family members.
No, I
And to
think that,
friends.
I don't know about that. The only thing I do know is he texts his dad, love you, Dad, or whatever.
Is that unusual?
No, I don't think that it was anything unusual for him. I don't know. Him and his dad have had a rocky relationship their whole life. Do you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe the kid had a freaking premonition and felt guilty because they did. Dom was young when I got divorced, and his dad made it some of the visitation difficult for them, and with him being young, it was
Harder on him than the other two.
Have you been able to talk to his dad since the crash?
I
He called me last week. I don't know if he told you that.
me he was going to call you.
He wanted to know the status, why we're still investigating, why this is not
Well, yeah, and I don't trust him, and we've told him we don't trust him because he sat there and he's doing some voodoo. I called him hysterical.
Right.
The night that it happened, I was in tears. I just didn't want to forget what had happened. I was so upset. And they claim that, that Dom from Beyond has told them through this, like a Ouija board thing, that the accident wasn't Kenzie's fault. Well, how could it not be? When Kusne tells me that the 360, which I don't understand. I'm not technological savvy, okay, that she's driving fine and then accelerates at one point to this point and doesn't stop.
So you talked to Husni?
Well, he called, after Davion's funeral, Husni introduced me to the parents at the wake, and then I had snuck, well, I couldn't deal with anybody, so I went late to the church, but I felt I wanted to pay the kid respect. And I left before they did their procession, so I just to be there for the mass, and he had called complaining about talking shit, basically, about things that he was disappointed in, and not facetious. I mean, I would want the mom or the parents to know, but him and I had a few criticisms about the way that the funeral was handled and them being gone and things like that. I don't know if he just used me as a sounding board, because he was very close with them, but he just started with blah blah blah, and then he went on to say, you better not let this go, that I know that this is, she did this on, basically, I don't want to replace the kids' words.
And it's okay, because, we talked to Husni.
Him and Tyler Croy.
Yeah, and then he was just very angry and just said that, you better not let that. I said, I'm not going to let this go. I said, it's in the police. I said, well, even if I said, oh, it's fine. I said, it's still a crime. Right. So I got 2 dead kids. Right. So, but so he just vented for a little bit, and I hadn't talked to him, much after that, but, and I did hear a little bit, like, from some of the other kids that, he maybe exaggerates a little bit, the way, he doesn't know everything, like he claims he knows, blah, 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 but don't get wrapped up in what the kid tells you, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was odd, too, that he would call and, criticize about the funeral, right? And the things, and then not coming back, and the neighbor being all pissed off.
So, are there any rumors that you would want us to confirm or dispel for you? Anything? Because
I told you the big thing was that mushroom thing, okay? Which the
mushroom was found on her person.
But I know that.
It's on body cam.
I have not said a word. I was told that. I mean, nothing you guys have said has left my brain. Okay.
The mushrooms were tested. They came back. It's an F2 given the quantity. It was above the bulk amount. It was on her person.
Much, huh?
Yes.
See, because I asked him, I've been in a mushroom case in freaking years.
They're really, listen, I've spent the last 4 years in the DEA task force. This is the second time in 4 years I've seen mushrooms.
It's a large quantity, and the medics were the ones who searched her when they strapped her to the gurney before the life flight. It was even Berea. It wasn't even Strongsville. So it's all on the body cam of the officer. The medic reaches in, grabs it, gives it to the officer. So I mean, you're not able to pin it on Dom.
I'm telling you, that was the big thing. And then I was like, well, that's not his character. Right. And why in the hell, if they're driving home sober at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever time it was, would that be there? Like, I still don't know whose backpack's in the car. I don't know what happened to his necklace. I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even know. I know I called you guys one night hysterical. I don't know who I talked to, but I just didn't know what happened to his clothes. I didn't know.
So the car is in our possession. It's secured in one of our bays because it's evidence at this point. Everything else that we were able to collect from the car, that we were able to get, is in property. Everything. The only things that I released were, the necklace that I found now, a couple of things, and everything was with the prosecutor's approval. I wasn't going to release.
Well, I don't know. Tim wasn't thrilled. He wanted you to just keep her phone. He goes, but we can't keep her phone forever. But
right.
I said, well, how can you? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, and that was a good move on Zaki's part. He made a good deal because
we had to make a deal with the devil. And you're a defense lawyer. You're an excellent lawyer. You know how this goes. At this point, we served the search warrant. That seizure of the phone becomes unreasonable. What am I holding on to the phone for? We gave her the phone back, in exchange for the code. Had we not gotten that code, that phone possibly could have had to go to Israel, to the lab, to Cellbrite, to crack into it. Again, or the feds or something. You know, it would have been very difficult. Apple doesn't make things easy for police to get into. That's
I
one.
know. I have an old
Number-
phone that I can't get into either.
Number
I don't
two,
remember the code.
As you might already know, I wanted to give her a rope and let that go on the record. I wanted to give her the phone back, see what she's going to do with it. And she did. I mean, she was making modeling, you know, talking to this modeling company from the hospital about her future plans with no regard to the fact that she took 2 innocent lives, or at least contributed to the loss of life. So it was a strategic decision that I made that I will.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying anything. And I know, just wanted to make a joke about it.
No, and again, Tim and I talked, and I said, listen, sometimes you kind of have to, her mom called over 10-15 times here wanting the phone back. And so once we served the search warrant and we had the
you needed had what you needed.
We got all that.
I gotcha.
So that takes me to the next to the Dom's phone. I know you asked Jason for Dom's phone. I do have Dom's phone, and what I was gonna say is a lot of the friends were not cooperative with us, and I'm wondering if there is anything on Dom's phone. We looked through Davion's phone. We asked the parents, and granted, the parents had no standing in his case, but I know with Dom's phone, it's registered to your law firm, so you do have standing. Whether or not you would consent to letting us look.
Yeah, I just can't, and I can't because I have so many confidential communications, even with my son about other people that he would call me or and talk about, but he's not friends with any of those people.
And we, all we got from at least Blair and from talking to him is that there were those phone calls or at least attempts to make calls the morning of the crash. So in particular, we're not looking to.
I can
tarnish.
I can go on my Verizon and print off his call log. I have absolutely no problem doing that.
I am interested.
Can you get text messages through my Verizon?
I will find out.
From the night of the 30th.
I know, like in Medina, because they're always really more so than Cuyahoga, just they're freaks about phones and all that stuff. And we will get printouts. They're harder to go through because it's not the bubbles like we like to see on the thing, but it'll show the number and it'll show the statement.
Sure.
So, but that's one thing. It's like I got kids right now that cases are going on. I can't that are his friends. Yeah.
My main concern is, like I said, we're not looking to, tarnish his name.
I don't think the kid didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
All we want to know is those calls were.
Else that went through.
Did he vent that night to somebody? Maybe did he take a picture of her sleeping at the house? Did he, anything that would shed some light on what happened?
I don't know that I could do anything with it, and I'll frankly tell you why the phone's so important. Dom, not only did we have, he started that business, he had his college fund that he was using money to make multiple investments, and I've asked, which I don't do a whole lot of probate, but Loretta, my lawyer, I said, how am I gonna, like some of them will say, take a text message to verify your identity. So anything, like he has a laptop, but his cryptocurrency, all that shit's gonna be on there. I don't know, because you said it was smashed. I don't know if I wanna go to Verizon and say, hey, can we at least transfer it? So I could try to find out where it's not. Right now, even my son said, we could be getting killed in the stock market, that we don't even have his stocks. We did put one in my name that we did together because he was too young for them to establish it, but the rest of the accounts he established.
Okay.
I mean, I know where he banks at, that's not an issue, but I don't know about these stock accounts. And because this freaking paperless shit, nothing comes to the house. I get the bank statement to the house, but I was with him and told the bank, just do a paper copy. Because everything's with this wireless shit, I have nothing to even go on.
Yeah. What kind of business was Dom running?
He did, we're making music. He set up a studio, and then people would come and pay him, and he would help them
in
with
the house
studio
next door.
time.
Sound and
That's where he conducted, and he made his own songs, and that was how he was making his money. Plus, like I said, I didn't hand over all his money. Just so you know, I mean, he would say, "Give me 10 grand. I'm going to put it in this stock," or you know, I mean, so I would order the checks out of it. It was a uniform gift to minors up to 21. So, but I don't know. Like I said, even the one that me and him had together, I think is going. I don't get statements on that either. So even Angela says I could be trading the stock or buying and selling. We can't do nothing.
Okay.
And that only mine.
Yeah.
It's in my name. He could have with my permission. I can't do nothing with Dom's. I just got to turn it over to Loretta to see if we can get that money back.
I will contact him once we're done here. Let him know, because like I said, since the Mackenzie's phone, you know, I run everything by him. Hey, you good with us releasing?
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't know.
We haven't looked into it though.
I don't know if it's even possible. I don't know. If that's the case, then the only thing I can hope is Verizon tells me you could pull it from the cloud. Do you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff, so I may be able to do that. I know I can definitely get all the call logs.
That's,
I get it now.
you know, the calls
and then
the
I
texts
can go
were
from
on.
there.
Right, and that's, like I said,
Like I said, he's more of a caller than a texter, and that was just, and I think the only reason he texted his dad late was because it was late.
Okay. Like I said, based on that conversation with Blair, it just seemed, even by his own admission, it's just unusual. And, you know, calling Blair late at night, like maybe he did have a feeling, or
Well, I did.
maybe there was something.
I made the comment the week before. We all went to dinner with my mom, and I said, "Why didn't we take a picture?" And Ange goes, "Yeah, we didn't take a picture of all of us at dinner." I said, "Yeah, that picture will never happen again." Not thinking my son, but you know what I'm saying? That definitely was what the Lord was putting in my brain. I was thinking my mom or my stepdad would have passed. Do you know what I mean? He just turned 80. You know what I'm saying? Not the opposite. So I don't know that. But I was clueless, obviously.
If this goes to trial, as you might expect, through discovery, that her defense lawyer, Jim McDowell.
Oh, that's what she hired?
Yeah.
McDowell?
McDowell or McDowell.
Now, so it's changed a couple times, but I think it's.
She had Brad Koff from Columbus who referred her to Stephen McGowan, and all of a sudden.
Steve McGowan. I love Steve McGowan. He's
been around forever.
He doesn't. He won't work the case. It's kind of like Stu Libby. They don't watch videos. They don't listen to recordings.
No, it's too much for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
which is just it's terrible.
Jim is now representing her. So all these texts.
So I'm wondering if the aunt, because I think it was Doug Will, some lawyer from Lorraine. I was told that, and so maybe he just couldn't do it. Maybe he's not.
I do not know, but there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie where she talks about Dom's mental health, and I know this is something that potentially could come up. So I just have to ask. Dom suffered from depression. No, any mental issues that they
no, and in fact, when they were. My ex family was going to try to kill Christopher at the house. And Dom intervened, got charged, which he shouldn't have because he was a victim. They came with guns and everything strapped to kill Christopher. We had to take a mental health exam for the court, and that was turned into Berea Court. I do have a copy of it. He had to take a mental health and drug exam. And I don't remember what the mental health part of it, but I remember the drugs and reading, because the drug and alcohol thing, that he had tried it. He had reported that he had tried alcohol a couple times at some parties. Now, mind you, this was done a year ago. Okay, just it wasn't done yesterday. Okay,
right.
And then the only other issue was he had the medical marijuana card, and they did not find that was a drug issue because he was using it.
He did have a medical marijuana card. Did he? What did he get that for?
Well, he had an injury in basketball for his ankle. And again, I wasn't with the doctor that prescribed it, but he experienced a lot of pain. We were seeing an ankle specialist over at Southwest. Then he wanted him to go for MRIs. what the shirt said he's too young or something stupid. I don't know. But he had an ankle. He always wore an ankle brace quite a bit, and I have a lot of like tendon issues. I had a lot of braces that I was giving him, so he experienced from basketball a lot of pain at the ankle and stuff that helped with.
In December 2020, December 28th, Mackenzie texted you saying Dom is saying he wants to hurt himself, and she goes on to say, you know, come over and help, and then you reply by saying he's alright, and in a brat mode hit his head on the wall.
What did I say?
You said
in a brat
he's
mode?
alright, and in brat mode hit his head on the wall. I don't know if you remember that.
Basically, he was just angry
He was
because he
just-
hit his head, but there was a couple times
Oh
that
no,
Mackenzie...
he was angry because he hit his head. I
Okay.
remember
Okay.
that. Yeah,
And so
he hit his
nothing-
head, so he got mad.
So no indication that he wanted to hurt himself.
No,
Okay.
no. I'd have to ask Angelo, but I think any death threats usually came from her.
Okay.
Or, you know, I'll kill myself if you break up with me, or I'm gonna do this if you break up with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In January 2021, Kenzie texted you saying about herself, I was feeling all weird and having she meant lot, of anxiety from withdrawal. Do you know what she's withdrawing from? Did you know she has a drug dependence issue?
Oh.
This was sent to you, to your phone.
I was feeling all weird.
Do you know what she's talking about?
I just wanted to leave my friends. Was begging him to give me, and he didn't give me. The only thing I can think, withdrawal, but that would be a withdrawal symptom. God, I'd really have to go back and read them all. At one point with the stomach thing, okay, they had thought she had some, I don't know the name of the disease, something that had to do with marijuana, but marijuana doesn't cause withdrawal symptoms. But she was supposedly couldn't smoke marijuana because they were thinking that was part of this issue. It's some condition that you develop from smoking marijuana. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Okay.
Unless it's stated in that.
Did you know her to smoke marijuana?
I never seen her do it, but now that she admitted to me at the cemetery that she hasn't smoked since she got out of the hospital, and I had known about the condition she wasn't smoking, but I'm sure she was back smoking again because she just brought it up to me.
Yeah.
Not like she sat there and smoked in front of me or anything,
Right.
you know.
But to just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't. But well, that's because when she was getting sick with the stomach thing. This is how a lot of this started, was with her stomach. But it was I know that she had to. One of the things was, and I don't know what the condition is. I might be able to ask Angelo, but it was something where they said that the doctor told her she couldn't smoke marijuana anymore, and then that didn't. I don't know if that really turned out. I think that whole issue ended too with that. Which eventually led to the stupid gluten-free thing
Okay.
that was going on. But I mean, why would she? Maybe withdrawal. I mean, you don't withdraw from marijuana.
Okay.
I don't think that she used any other drugs. I don't. I was kind of shocked about the whole mushroom thing. I mean, like I said, they don't smoke pot, but who cares? Do you know what I'm saying? Most of these kids got med cards for different reasons. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
I don't know that. I highly doubt it. That would be a term that you'd use for like heroin or something.
Right.
But maybe in her mind she was withdrawing.
And that's
from
why it caught our
Right.
attention.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
not something you normally see
No.
with
Right.
pot.
Yeah.
And so the last one, that's the one text that kind of stood out from the week before the crash on July 17th, where she texted you saying to come get Dom. He grabbed the steering wheel on the highway, trying to spin out my car and hurt me, and she kind of played it off to where
She totally, that's what she always did. Everything was always Dom's fault. She
I'm
always
scared
twisted it around.
because of driving in the rain. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad. And then you said Hench is on the way. Who's Hench?
That's Christopher Martin, that's his nickname. He's the fellow that went and picked up Dom.
Okay. And did Chris say anything about what transpired? Did he tell you like, Christine, when I
No,
picked him
that
up?
he called me and said that, Mom, you, and this calm of a voice. I mean, like I said, we talk more than we text. Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's being crazy. She's threatening to crash the car on the highway. Okay, are you pulled over? Yes. Where at on the highway? Okay, I'm laying on the couch. Which I was glad because I had Christopher not my son Christopher Hunch, on his way to get him while I stayed on the phone with Dom till I knew that he was there and she didn't do anything. And then after, that's when she just started ranting. I didn't pay attention to her. Ranting and started blaming him for everything. It's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I said, I don't really care. Just don't fight in the car. And it seems that she did that because he had like little tiny stupid fender bender things with her in the car. You know, just like nothing, no damage, anything. But, you know, Kenzie had me hit the mailbox because she was fighting with him in the car. And Ange again could probably tell you more details, but I don't know if she grabbed the steering wheel. I mean, it was my own mailbox. It wasn't a crime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there has been, since she started driving, more of the issue of her. But again, everything's always Dom's fault.
Right.
Right.
We can kind of see it from the text where there's a lot of that blame, shifting blame.
Yep.
So, did you know where they were going that morning? Did you have any idea? Did Dom say anything the night before, like, hey, we're gonna be at this party and then we're going there?
Yeah.
Where were they
I
going?
was making, he said that they had a couple of graduation parties to go to, and I had said that, that I was making some dip and some other things or whatever, and Blair had come over and I said, okay, this stuff's getting done or whatever, and his impression was, I know he texted me, all right, at one point I had talked to them, he didn't think they were gonna be gone, then I texted him and had said, something like, you know, this dip's done or whatever, and he said, okay, well, we shouldn't be long, or we'll be back in a little bit or whatever, and then that was it. Blair said that Dom really didn't want to go to these parties. That's what I was told, that he did it for Kenzie. Wasn't friends with the people, wasn't thrilled about going.
We know the first party they went to was in Parma. It wasn't even a Strongsville
I heard
student.
that there was no parents at a Lakewood house too. That was another party. Did Toosney tell you about that? This is where I'm getting a lot of my information.
And based on what we were able to track back to almost 8 p.m. and there was no indication they were in Lakewood. They were in Parma Heights area. We even have the LPR because we ran the license plate for the Toyota and saw what time they were going where. So we knew they went to Parma, and after that, they ended up on Brushwood, and that's where they spent the 6-7 hours.
And that's the one that's behind Whitney, by the way.
Yes. You know, Brushwood has 2 entrances.
Not
they
really.
don't connect, but they were off of Whitney.
Okay.
We kind of know that for a fact, and they left there about 5:30.
Yeah, he just again everybody's told me don't live and die by what Houston has to say because he doesn't know everything. But he had thought that there was he was the one that alerted me that there weren't parents supervising these parties.
I think a lot of what's going on with him is grief. So and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I talked to him and Dom were pretty close. So I think a lot of him, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but his digging and his own investigating, I think he's getting some of this information. So yeah, don't put too much into, because between the grief and the anger at Mackenzie and him doing his own digging and talking to people and that, I think people are steering him in some.
And what's weird too is I had heard, and I probably confused me, I don't want to just say it's put it all on this kid, but before I had heard the mushroom story, I had heard that all these people at this party were like tripping or whatever, but I didn't hear it on mushrooms. When I think of tripping, I think of acid. I don't know if that still goes around these days like it used to in the 70s or 80s, whenever it was. But I haven't been in an acid case in a long time either. So,
yeah, it's coming on the weird.
But
part.
like I said, none of them were big drinkers. I didn't really see them ever fuck
We know.
You know what I mean? It just none of the 3 of them even. Now, did I ever go to a party with Kenzie? No, I never did. But I've seen her quite a bit. I've never seen her screwed up on anything. I've never seen my son screwed up on anything. Davion I didn't know very long, but he was kind of the same way. I mean, like I said, they were always doing something. If they're not making music, they were working on the car. They were, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
Did they ever fight or argue in front of you? Mackenzie and Dom?
No, of course not.
No.
No, because then I could be a witness to what she's claiming.
So Angelo would probably be able to.
Because then Dom would vent more.
Were Angelo and Dom close?
Yes, very close.
What's a good phone number for Angelo?
It's not terrible.
And if you don't mind, would you be kind enough to let him know that probably next week sometime we're gonna give him a call and try to set something up?
Yeah, I'll talk. All right, Angelo. 440-773-5287.
Okay. Well,
and like I said, he could probably, probably just, give you more of the gripes. I don't think that, if there was a situation where I was around, Dom would come to me and say, Kenzie's doing this and Kenzie's doing that. And he just probably, more so than not referred her as being crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, she's a young girl. I wish I would have just read more into it. Do you know what I'm saying? I never would have dreamed in a million years. Do you know what I'm saying? That I would be having to worry about this.
Right.
Even when the police came, I said, they don't even drink, really. You know what I mean? Like, I did it. Now, like I said, and then, my concern is I don't know if or when, because of the way those talk screens come out, if or when she would have ingested anything. I still don't think, even if she was high on those mushrooms, that's would have been the case.
And
I just don't. From what I know, what I've read about, like I said, yes, maybe on acid, that's something more bad, but you don't really hear. People are, when you interview clients and talk to them about it and you study it, it's more of a, although I did read about it the other day too, I forgot, but more of like a happier type of a situation. It's supposed to make you more giggly or whatever. I forget the description. You know what I mean? So
what's making this a bit difficult, at least for the two of us, is just looking at the driving on Progress. Progress Drive is not a straight line, and so the medical theory. We're eliminating theories at this point. We put, what could a defense lawyer come after us for? So mechanical, medical, OVI, or other to include suicide. And I can tell you, I am substantially certain that mechanical is out. We had a forensic mechanic. We had the EDR report. Judge John Russo saw when he signed the search warrants, and he signed 10 out of the 11 search warrants for us. He looked into some of the data from the car. Something was up. And so that's...
what would the other defense be?
The other defense would be the OVI, like she was so impaired that she hadn't... But then again, if we know that Davion was awake because he sent a text at 5:30. He commented on a picture that was sent to him from a friend, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool," or something like that. So we knew he was up. No indication from him that there was something going on. And as they make the turn, you can see on video that there's somebody had a screen up, likely Dom, that the phone was on or something.
Yeah, you could see a light.
You can
coming
see
from
the light.
car when they turned from Pearl on to Progress.
But it doesn't explain, and I'm sure one day it'll come out. It doesn't explain those last 2 seconds.
You've driven down Prospect 1,000 times. You lived in Shelbyville forever, so we all know it has those two curves.
Oh, and don't let her tell you that she is unfamiliar with Progress.
I eliminated that this morning.
Okay, because I'm going to tell you, when we went for prom pictures, the guy that was going with us, she kept telling me, "Oh, just cut through on Progress." She knew, and that was the way that I went to my office. I've not driven down that street since July. She's at that memoriam all the time. How do you go to the scene where you've just killed 2 people?
She knew progress.
We knew
progress, and we all know. I mean, it's bumpy from the semis. There's curves.
Yeah.
If she was impaired, if she fell asleep, you wouldn't have navigated that. It doesn't make sense.
Not to mention Dom and or Davion
Being away.
moved her, yanked her, did something to, at least offset the impact of the crash.
Right.
But
If she's sitting there driving and she goes like this, someone's gonna grab that wheel. They're gonna say, "Holy shit, she passed out. She fell asleep. She something."
Your foot wouldn't stay on the gas either that fast.
Right.
right. So, and I don't want to.
And it would have stopped when she hit the sign.
That's another issue we have.
But the speed at which this all happened.
She keeps telling me that she wished she would have died. She keeps saying that it should have been me. And now she wants to talk shit all then. I know it's different when people die, but she's got nothing but go on and on about how perfect and wonderful he was. And that basically saying I'm a piece of shit and he was a great person. I mean, so didn't bring up, oh, he's got mental health issues and all that other shit that she wants to.
And the only reason I ask, again, through discovery.
No, I don't care. I've got the exam. Like I said, I mean,
and you're obviously going to get everything we have at the end of this thing. So
And believe me,
you just have to tell me what you want from me.
We would like
the call log.
the call log and text log from, I'd say, the night off. So that 10 p.m. when we knew they went to Brushwood. From 10 p.m. the night of the 30th until the time of the crash.
Sorry, the end of September. I don't know. I wish you would have asked me last month, but they should at least preserve them, I think, for 90 days.
Right. And again, to us, it's just gonna maybe we can't compel people, those who don't want to cooperate, and that's what the prosecutor is going to use his state power for.
And I don't.
I'm surprised at how uncooperative kids are in this matter.
Right.
Frankly, considering
She claims she gets threatened all the time. She claims that nobody. Basically, the general position in the community is that she did this on purpose. She's texted me, I wouldn't do this on purpose. It's just, and that was when I didn't ever even bring this up. She's volunteered that. She's volunteered a lot of that.
I think she's getting a lot of that from that Hoosney Croy.
there's a group of kids who are very much upset, and I know because her mom called and she kept saying they're saying mean things. Well, I can't go after everybody.
Get off social media, lady.
Right.
The mom was in the hospital. The first thing that she said to me when I called, I was hysterical after finding out, and she says, "Oh, are you calling about Facebook?" If I could have punched her and chucked the phone.
We went there, and her biggest concern was what people are posting on the Strongsville page, and can we intervene? And that was her biggest concern when we walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but to me, there's just the pieces are not fitting in. We know the evidence. We've seen the video. We've seen all of it. It just does not add up. And so when I inquire about the suicide theory, well, there's a reason behind it. And I think in talking to Tim...
So were you meaning that Kenzie was trying to kill herself when you talked to Blair? Because Blair made it sound like you were acting like the three of them.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That he misunderstood.
Blair was... you'll get to listen to the interview. But Blair was just not all there. First of all, I don't know if he's... The way he acted, if he's normally that way... Very, very reserved, very reluctant. He kept asking for specifics, and I said, well, describe the relationship between the two. Well, what do you mean? Well, what were they like in public? Were they lovey-dovey? Did they argue? And he's like, well, give me more examples. Like, he was very much coached into that interview. And his lawyer, when he said, when I noticed he wanted to say something, like he mentioned the name of a friend, Dom, one of Dom's good friends from Lakewood, Kyle something, Harper. I was like, well, can I get Kyle's information so I can give him a call? Well, his lawyer steps in, and so there was a lot. He was coached. It's obvious. I I've done this long enough to know who's coached and who's genuinely trying to help the investigation.
Everyone's circling the cow. They're protecting themselves at this point.
Nobody's.
But he wasn't even there.
I don't know. I don't know. I know the Shirillas have reached out to some of the kids, and including Landon Donovan, who was supposed to be, or Landon Turner, who's supposed to be Davion's best friend, and
he won't talk either.
Nope. He's in college. He's playing football, and I called him once, and we set up an interview, and boom, it's been 6 or 7 calls that are and so I told Tim, we got to talk to him. Rosie Graham, we need to talk to her. She was at the party. She, asked, she had some texts going back and forth. So they were there. The people who were at the party needed to answer some questions. Mackenzie's ex-boyfriend.
And what are they worried about? Were they doing drugs or something? They're worried about they're going to incriminate themselves using drugs?
I don't know.
Or even drinking? I guess big deal, underage consumption. What the hell? You're not going to go to prison for it.
Right. And we're,
And it's clear that it's like Mackenzie's people are the ones closing ranks. Right. And Dom's friends are the ones coming in here saying this is not right. This just
Dom and Davion's
sense.
Friends are, with the
Davion's
exception of
too.
Blair, were fairly open.
And,
So,
Right,
to me,
so
the
they're
theory,
doing
to
something,
me,
right.
ultimately it's Tim's theory. It's not mine. My job is to collect data, the evidence, or the information, and give it to him. And
Yeah, but this Burlinghouse, what's the parents' name of this kid? Do you know?
I don't know, but they were in New York the night of the incident.
Well, the only reason is I'm wondering if it's the same Burlinghouse. There was a Burlinghouse from Middleburg, a whole family. There was a bunch of Burlinghouses. There's like Dale and Jim Burlinghouse. And
I don't recall.
that family.
I mean, I can pull it up, but
Well, I'm just curious because
they've lived in
if
Strongsville
there's an
for years.
alcohol issue, it doesn't matter that the Burlinghouses have a history of huge.
I can tell you from the first
alcohol.
graduation party, there was no alcohol consumption.
Okay.
Like everybody was like, nope. All 3 of them showed up. They didn't smoke. They didn't drink. They hung out and left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, which like I said, I couldn't see my son. I mean, who knows? Maybe he would, but like I said, he doesn't drink beer. Or
he wasn't driving. So even if he was,
right. But I'm just saying, I didn't even wouldn't. That was the first thing. If they want to think about how I acted when the police came with Father Joe, I just said, I'm just shocked that they not much drinkers. Like I just assumed it was an OBI accident in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
And this is to us. This is what Jason and I are struggling with, and I kind of, I wish I could give you a better answer, but until we look at her blood, it just doesn't look like an OVI crash to me. To me, and so I'm not trying to create a theory from nothing. But the reason I'm asking about the suicide and the mental health is because when we discussed this case with Tim, just OVI by itself doesn't fit.
Right. Well, it doesn't. And I don't think that Dom and Kenzie would make some sort of suicide pact. And if they did, he wouldn't have done it with Davion in the car and killed that kid.
And I don't think Dom would have made that
they
suicide
had reservations
pact.
for her birthday. He had steaks he had bought.
He wasn't wearing a
There
seatbelt.
wasn't.
Right. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. But I could put your mind at ease in that Dom was, at no point did he reach over based on what our officers saw when they got there. So even if somebody tries to say, Dom caused it, no way. No way. I mean, we have multiple officers with body cams. No way.
Right, and I just wished it. Why wouldn't Davion punch her in the head? And that was the thing. That was another thing that I had told Houston. I said, Dom has never ever laid a hand on that little girl. Okay, she has. He'll walk outside anything. He does not touch. Okay, and I said, I just wish he would have somebody would have punched her in the head, and I wish Davion would have. Somebody. What the hell are you doing?
And you're right, because I've gone through her phone. Like I've just dove into her phone, and I've dove into her and Dom. And when they argue, she was more the antagonizer, and he was more like, "Oh, you're breaking up with me? Okay, cool, deuces." Like he was definitely more laid back, and definitely more like, don't talk to me, you're mad at me, and then she'd keep going and keep going. And we couldn't figure out if that was the teenage girl in her, like obsessed with the older guy type deal, or if it was literally a mental issue that
her driving, there's video, she records herself driving high speeds, she's constantly TikToking and Snapchatting.
filming herself while driving.
Right. And
at high speeds, which is what Blair told me. That's all Blair had to tell you guys,
Right.
was that he knows that she would drive fast and reckless. Okay. Again, I mean, I don't know. My son Ange thinks she's absolutely the devil. He thinks that she's.
I think
we're gonna make it a point to talk to him next week in the evening someday, and just kind of.
It doesn't have to be the evening. I mean, just give him a chance. 1 or 2 o'clock.
Whenever he
just
wants.
long as
I
it's
mean,
not
would he
Thursday.
feel more comfortable here or at the house?
I'll ask him.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants me to come with him,
we'll give him a
with
call.
It's no big deal.
We are interested in the relationship, really, but
Yeah.
I want you to know deep down why we're asking those questions is because
I know, because you want to put together a solid case. Because my son Angela thinks she needs to go to prison. He is absolutely positive, says that she needs to go to prison.
Well, and as well, probably better than we do, what we're battling here with the juvenile court versus 3 days later she's an adult.
Well,
versus...
I'd like to see who we pull, because I'll file an affidavit of prejudice with the Supreme Court, because I practiced in most of those courtrooms.
It's one of
I'd
Tim's
rather get
biggest.
some retired judge from Southern Ohio, some Republican judge that would. Not to say, I love our Democratic judges in Cuyahoga, but they're Democratic because that's how they get elected. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In Cuyahoga,
We get the game.
depending on the theory that we're able to help put together, the evidence that we're going to put together, if we can force a mandatory bind over as opposed to leaving it up to a judge, that's another thing that we're looking at. So the reason we're looking at all of her social media is to show, although she was 17, she's been living like an adult, and that's why I asked you.
I would say absolutely, and I would say that for sure her senior year, because she was at my house every day.
Did she ever have a job, do you know?
Oh, yes, I do know this, and my friend Loretta looked into this. So she worked at Pulp at the top of the street. She worked at, I think, Taco Bell.
Wasn't it?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin', I know she was,
They fired her at Dunkin' Donuts. Now, if you talk to her employers, Loretta went in there and got the coffee or whatever and said, oh, I never knew this girl worked here or whatever, because Loretta goes there every day. She said, oh, that girl was horrible. She was nasty to customers. She was rude. She was all these things.
Okay.
And so she may have been putting on a nice facade for all of us and her innocent stuff. But I think it was Taco Bell, McDonald's or Wendy's. She's gotten fired from 4 or 5 jobs. Okay. And I know for a fact the last one, because Loretta just went there, you could talk to them, that she was horrible. It was either Pulp or Bippity Bob. I don't know. Is that Pulp still there?
Yeah.
At the top of the street?
Yeah, right.
They said that she was rude and nasty to customers too. So I know those 2 places for sure. I don't know.
Well,
she had those jobs when she was like 16.
And I know the Duncan one's right, because there's some text with her and the boss going back and forth. So that one is right on the money. I didn't know about Pulp, and we can look into some of those.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's either one of the other fast foods. We only got McDonald's, Wendy's, or Taco Bell. So one of those 3, but Pulp for sure. It wasn't Bippity Bob, it was Pulp. And they got rid of her too, for again, customer issues. And so
Dom seemed to do pretty good by himself. Did he give her money a lot?
Oh, I don't know.
There was an argument about when he threatened her with civil court because she bought something. She bought something that Dom gave her money for, but I guess maybe she didn't have permission because it wasn't clear from the
text.
From the text. But they kind of went back and forth.
That was after that. He said that she needs to give me the money back. And I don't. Again, this is the end of July. I know there was something about
July
the
2020.
birthday gift, and I remember them fighting. Okay, he was on his phone trying to order her a purse or something, and he was sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, she's just gotta look at my phone. She's gotta look at my phone and see everything I'm doing." He goes, "I'm just trying to order a damn birthday gift, blah blah blah," and she had to look at it and see, and he was all pissed off because he couldn't surprise her with it. Then the night of that thing, he did bring up the fact that there was money given to her, that he wanted the money back because maybe, and it might have been had to do with not being able to order the purse. Just said, fine, well then take the money that I was going to pay for the purse or something like that. Angela maybe be able to clarify that a little bit more. Again,
was there an issue between Dom and Mackenzie's mom, Natalie? Threats or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Here she says Dom threatened. He bought me this one outfit yesterday, and now he's saying he's going to take me to civil court. And then you told her not to worry about it. He caters to you. I think he just needs something back.
That's why I asked. It seemed like he catered to her a lot.
Right.
They were always going out to eat.
What do you do? Yeah. What do you do for him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was my thing. Like, he waits on you hand and full. What are you doing for him? I did start that a lot lately.
Yeah, no, and you actually have a text in there that I know that said, "What have you done for him?"
Right.
It goes both ways.
And
so you're right on the money with that.
We knew he was taking care of her financially too, supporting her, which just goes along to show. Is there anything you wanted to know about the investigation that maybe we can help shed some light, put your mind at ease? Anything you're curious about?
No, I guess not.
We are about a week or two out before I think we get the
I
talks
talked
back.
to the ME's office, and I think they said 2 more weeks, and that was a week and a half ago. So 10 to 14
as soon as we get that.
And I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't be worried about Jimmy McDonald. Jimmy McDonald's a nice guy, hopefully. But, is somebody going to hear this?
No.
Okay, this isn't going to be used as evidence.
No.
I don't even know last time the guy's tried a case. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that. He's Nancy McDonald's brother, and then he would get plea deals. He's a prosecutor. He's just making his money, getting his PRS. I mean, he's not really a go-getter type.
Okay. Well, and especially in something like this, they're going to be searching for a plea deal.
Right. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Recording.
Okay. So we 29th at 14:37. So we talked to Mom last week, and some of the issues that we asked about, she said you might be able to shed some more light on. Mostly what I'm interested in is the relationship between Mackenzie and Dominic, and perhaps some of the things you might have seen or some of the things that Dominic confided in you about. Okay, we're not going to ask about anything else. It's at this point not pertinent to what we're doing. Okay. So my first question to you is, how long have you known Mackenzie?
She would have had to have been, I forget if she was in 8th or 9th grade when she met Dom. I think, I would say since she was in 9th grade.
Okay.
Like early 9th grade, I think that they did initially meet when she was in 8th grade. And then, but like, I think they just met as like, friends or whatever. But the first time I was introduced to her as like, oh, whatever, this is like my girlfriend or whatever. It was like high school.
Gotcha. What was your relationship like with her? Did you talk to her?
In the earlier years of their relationship, we were like much more close. She would like come to me with a lot of stuff, like kind of talk to me like a big brother, and there's many times like they were having issues even years ago where Dom would want to break up with her or something, and it wouldn't be like that simple. It'd be like, like from time to time again, it almost like she'd have like issues, like self-esteem issues, like she'd get crazy about stuff, like accuse him of cheating and stuff when he's not, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And just then for a while, I would talk to her, and you know what I mean, then it would be like not constant, but there'd be like every like week, like couple weeks at one point, or like week or so, where they were almost breaking up, and then she'd be threatening to hurt herself. And this is back when she's in probably 10th grade, like she's still a sophomore. Dom's like a junior or senior or whatever, you know. And like yeah, stuff would arise, and it would like never really take like a healthy course, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And over time, my relationship with her really subsided. I stopped talking to her. I stopped like really trying to be there for her, because ultimately I just seen that she was very, very selfish. You know what I mean? Like for me, you know, like there's two types of love that you give somebody, and it's like I love that person unconditionally, and I want to see them prosper and be happy no matter what that entails for me. And there's a type of love that's selfish and restricted, and I want them all to myself. And that was Kenzie with Dom. It was the latter, not the first step. There was times where, even in later years, where, you know, Dom's old enough to, like, you know, like he wasn't of drinking age, but he can go to bars and hang out and stuff, even though he couldn't like drink and stuff. And there would be times, you know, that one of my friends, because I'm 23, would be having a birthday party, and she would like forbid him from going, and it'd be all just my buddies, you know, because she'd be like, oh, there's probably going to be girls there. Well, if it's a bar, there's probably going to be girls there, yes, and there's probably going to be men there. It's going to be it's a public place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she got weird over him going to public places, would like a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But all of that stuff like led me from distancing myself from her, because it just became a thing where I couldn't help her in my eyes, because she was always stuck on like a selfish path, like wouldn't like listen to me or take my advice, you know. And even even in like the aspect of like it's better to have loved and lost and never have like loved at all, you know. She never got that. It's always like, no, blah 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 blah, like I'll never let him go kind of thing.
Gotcha. So let's go back to the crazy part. You mentioned that anytime Dom would kind of want to break up with her, she kind of would go crazy. Describe crazy. Like what kind of crazy?
Like there is times where she called Dom and said, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself. Word for word. And then Dom, he was a very, very selfless person, and he did, like, obviously, like, they were together for a long time, and they built, like a relationship, and they cared for each other deeply. You see what I'm saying? And even though Dom did care for her deeply, I'm not disputing any of that, but he's seen all the toxicness that she was putting onto him, and every single time he would try to distance himself, like, from that, and say, hey, we could be friends, this and that, blah, 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 still here for you, like, you know, but, like, I want to break up or whatever. She would say stuff like that.
So how do you know that? If you don't mind me asking. So she told you, or
she's told me, he's told me, they both told me.
Okay.
Like, this is her not recently, because, like I said, like, we haven't been, you know, close in like a long time. But, I mean, I've gotten, like, new phones since, so I don't have, like, text records on here. But if you went through the service provider or whatever, you can even find text records a couple of years ago of just, like, me having long paragraph texts with her, telling her, like, this and that, and trying to, like, be accommodating and nice to her about stuff, and her just not listening to a word I'm saying. And, I mean, it's a while ago.
On that note, before we go, have you had the same number, even though you got a new phone? Has you saved that number? What is your phone number? 440-773-5287.
Okay. So when was the last time she kind of expressed that to you about wanting to kill herself if Dom left her?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Like, I had her on Snapchat, blocked her on Snapchat. For a while, I had her phone number blocked, because even I'd be with Dom, and she would nonstop blow up my phone, trying to say, like, where is he, blah, blah, blah. Like, he'd miss one of her calls, he'd be driving or something, and he'd miss, like, one of her calls, and I'd have to call her on my phone, and be like, hey, relax, we're going to get some food, and it'd be, like, even that would be, like, a thing, you know what I mean?
Where was she living at the last, 6 months or so?
Pretty much, I mean, pretty much I've seen her at Dom's house like every night almost, you know. Even like at times when like me and him, because you know Dom like making music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So every time it's like me, him, and his buddy Blair, we all like sing together and stuff like that. We'd be in this room with the mic and all that, making music, and she's just sleeping on the couch by herself. Like it's like, I don't know if that's like, I never really asked Dom like is she living here or anything, but she's definitely at his house way more than her own, even at night times and stuff like that.
Do you know if she has any property at the house? Clothes, makeup, stuff like that?
Oh yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still all there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I went through
anything. I haven't
Yeah.
been able to.
Yeah.
I did at one point want to gather her stuff up and do it. I just couldn't do. I haven't been in there since I got his clothes for the funeral. I just mentally and emotionally can't do it. So
Has anyone else had access to the house?
Just me.
Just you two. Okay.
I haven't been there in like a month either, honestly. It's been hard for me, honestly, too.
Yeah.
But
Has her attorney reached out to you about the? Because they have reached out to me, and I said we're not getting involved in this.
Oh, to try to go over there?
Yeah, because they wanted her driver's license, and we said first her dad reached out to us a couple of times, and I said, at best, you can come request an escort. We'll call Miss Russo. If she says yes, we could arrange it. If she says no, we're done. And then last time when he was kind of getting under my skin, I said, no, we're not getting involved in this. And so he had his lawyer call me. And it was the old lawyer from Columbus, and I told him the exact same thing. I said, this is not a criminal matter. We're not getting in the middle of this civil stuff. Right now, emotions are high. The Russos are grieving. This is not the right time to get her driver's license. Yeah, I mean, it's just, so I know her DL is still in Dom's house.
Oh, if it's that.
But why wouldn't anybody even say anything to me? And let me tell you, that rotten son of a bitch father of hers never said a frickin' word to me. I bumped into them at the cemetery. Of course, my place, I have to bump into him. And that bastard never even said, hello, how are you? I'm sorry. Nothing. Radio silence. Not a word.
If it came to it, would you have a problem with us coming over and just taking some pictures of her things in there?
Or if you want to take fresh
you
pictures,
take them,
just get them
if
to
you
us.
or if you're okay to go in there
To show her living there.
Yeah, we really want to show
Makeup, what clothes does she have? Like a jacket, or does she have like underwear and stuff where it establishes
toothbrush,
residence?
makeup, right?
She had clothes at my house, which, remember, I always maintained the room for Dom. His
Right.
own room, it's still there. But she had clothes at my house.
Okay.
I would be washing clothes, and I was washing her clothes. I can say that. And that was before he even moved next door, which we kind of just considered it all our big house because he just could not sleep in the same house with Christopher. They just had a conflict, and it just stressed him out too much. So
Well, and it's kind of nice that it was right next door and he could just stay there and
and come over for breakfast and dinner and the whole bit. And,
We just want to establish that residence piece. We
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
well,
we
I
want
know
to
in
show that
it's
proceeding to crash.
multiple places, so you know. So there's, I remember seeing shoes in the living room. I know there was purses in the back room, because when we were looking for his clothes and shoes, that's when I brought up. And then I would like I was ready to just take it and throw the stuff out. And then I said, well, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who gave it to her. And I just put everything back. So I have touched the stuff,
Yes,
but
okay.
I left it where I found it.
I got it.
And then, so at least in 2 rooms for sure.
Yeah, if you can maybe either take a recording of it or take pictures of it, we just want to be able to establish, hey, because her
living as an
dad
adult.
slip of a tongue, and he's like, oh, she's been living with the Russo, and then mom right away kind of jumped in, was like, no,
Something-
she just visited him.
No.
Something else too is I know this isn't like, I mean, obviously that you're gonna protect like your own daughter in this like instance, but I had a buddy who like went and seen Kenzie in the hospital actually, and was like, how's it going, blah blah blah, and then as soon as something did come up about the crash, her mom like shut it down and said like, oh, we can't speak of any of that because of like legality matters. There was a point in time where I was texting her mom directly about her daughter's problems, about like Kenzie's problems, saying like this and that. Like I remember at the time her parents were trying to give her antidepressants, okay? And she was already getting antidepressants since I believe middle school. All right? And you know, like teenage girls, you know, they have a lot of drama going on. And to me, to be honest, like her drama didn't seem any more than a normal teenage girl that just might be like a little high strung. Do you see what I'm saying? So, she was on, I think it was Zoloft or Prozac, one of the two, I forget, for like over a year. And well, she hasn't taken them in forever either. But this is back in, I think, 8th grade or something, 9th grade that she quit. And then I started talking to Kenzie about it, and Kenzie was telling me that the pills, you know, made her feel worse. And I started talking to her mom about that, and her mom just kind of had this attitude like, "Don't tell me how to raise my daughter." And I'm like, well, I'm actually like, not to say too much, but I'm a psychology minor, so it's like I know a little bit about this stuff, and she doesn't have any, you know what I mean? She didn't seem like she had any issues. You know what I mean?
So,
I don't know. I feel like maybe, you know, obviously being exposed to antidepressants, but you don't really need them, might have.
do you know from
messed her up in some way? I don't know.
do you know from what was your relationship like with Dominic? Were you guys close? Did he confide in you? Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say it's fair that Dominic perhaps shared some, I would say, secrets, some brotherly information with you about her? Like, hey man, you know, like, geez, you know, I can't put up with this, or I'm worried about my safety. She's a crazy driver. I don't want to get in the car with her. Anything of that sort?
There was multiple times, even in the month of July, that he was trying to break up with her.
Really?
Yeah, like literally just even last month.
No, that would be July.
2 months ago. Well, the month
Yeah.
before he died, you know what I mean? That's what
Yeah,
that's
prior
what I meant.
the
yeah.
crash. Yeah, we got you.
Can you tell me more about that? Whatever you know.
There was, I know that you've probably already spoken about this, but there was an instance literally the week or a couple days before the crash that she was hitting him on the highway while driving on the highway, and he had to pull his car over on the side of the highway, not in a very safe parking spot either, and have somebody else come pick them up and drive the car home because he was scared that she was going to make him crash. And that was just prior to the day before the actual crash where she was driving.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
different.
That's
than
different
my
than the
highway
one.
on the
Okay.
highway.
So that's a different highway one where
Because under
Dominic
that one, she
was-
was driving, right?
Right.
And
So
she-
under this one, he was driving.
Yes, the highway thing before the crash, he was driving, she was hitting him.
Okay.
He's driving, she's hitting him. He has to pull over on the side of the highway to avoid any possible.
and how do you know about
whatever.
this? What's your
I-
source of information?
I was actually I was already on vacation, right? I'm pretty sure. I was out of town, or else he probably would have just called me.
Okay.
But I was in Florida, so he called up a family friend, and his name's Chris.
Okay.
And
Frenchman?
yeah,
They already know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because my text is to her.
well, I'm
I
not gonna
wrote
sit here
Hench.
and call him Hench. You
Well,
know?
they already
Yeah,
know he's
we
called
Yeah.
well,
Hench.
it's in the text. They
Yeah.
refer to
Okay,
it
well then
as Hench.
he called Hench and said, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" And Hench came and picked him up, and then I heard about it. I don't know if he even really. I was still in Florida when he passed.
Okay. And so
he
these
didn't
are
really-
two
he didn't really
different
talk to me
incidents,
about it,
right?
But I talked to Hench about it. I talked to her about it, and that's one thing I didn't hear from him. But I wasn't in town.
Okay.
You know?
But you heard it from Hench that.
And
you know,
he's alive and it gets personal knowledge of
Okay.
that. So he's picked him up twice. I didn't know about that one when we interviewed.
Right. We just knew about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So two. All right.
you probably
And
have to
and
talk to
Hench picked him up from both of
And-
those.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah,
Hench
we
picked
got
him
it.
up twice.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember the time that when I was gonna it was that Sunday when it was raining, you were in town. I was in the garage, had that testing the next day, and she was threatening to crash the car and kill them on the highway, and I had to have Hench go get them then in the pouring down rain in my car.
Is this the same situation? Am I just like mixing it up?
No, because she was driving, and this time Dom was driving.
Yeah. One time she was behind the wheel, and then the other time Dom was behind the wheel. We knew a lot about the one when she was behind the wheel.
Right.
I don't think there's a whole lot that I've found yet in
Yeah, I'm
her
pretty sure.
phone that talks
Listen,
about that one.
I heard it from someone else, so it has me questioning if I have my story mixed up. But no, I'm pretty sure I was told that he was driving.
Okay.
And he was.
That's okay. We'll
We
clear
can-
it up with Hench.
Yeah, we can double check
Okay.
with Hench. See here.
He'll
I
talk
don't want
to
to.
us.
I don't want to give
Yeah,
misinformation.
no,
you know?
that's fine. That's not a problem. So let's go back to the whole breakup scenario. So we've established that Dominic, and from your firsthand knowledge, you know, Mackenzie would threaten to hurt herself and Dominic should he broken up with her.
Yes.
And now we know, you know, Dominic mentioned it to you that he plans on breaking up with her? Did he tell you?
I might even be able to look at some text right now about it. I don't really know if he told me, if it was on a phone call.
But it's firsthand.
he
What I'm
expressed it
trying
to
to
me multiple times.
understand. It's he told you directly, like, Angelo, can't do this shit.
Honestly,
anymore.
like, it's heartbreaking to me because, like, the day before I went to Florida, which is the last time I seen him face to face, he was really just talking to me about, about, like, how he can't keep letting Kenzie, like, run his life, but not even an aspect like that. Like, he said, like, all right, for example, you know how I was saying how he can't go out with even me occasionally because she's upset about it and this and that. He said that she holds him back. And we were just talking about, you know, like, traveling. Like, I was saying, like, hey, let's go on some vacations together, you know, this and that. He was talking to me, like, just me and him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and let's go see some stuff and go, like, live it up. And, I don't know. He was just telling me about how he wants to travel the world, too, which has always been one of my dreams, to travel, like, the world, you know? And, like, I think he was really, honestly, finally getting to the point to where, like, even if she was, like, saying, oh, I'm gonna hurt you, he would have, like, maybe even taken that chance. Because it's been going on for, like, 2 years. It's really going on for, like, 2 years. Like, they'd be good for, like, a month or two, like, sometimes they'd have 2-3 fights in a week.
Have you ever seen them going at it, fighting?
Yes.
Maybe in the house?
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
describe what was it like?
She, honestly, like, he'll be, like, dude, he would be so nice and as accommodating as possible to stop the fight. And she'd be one of those people that is just petty. You know what I mean? Just to the fullest extent. He'd be like, what's upsetting you? I'll fix it. You know? And then she would just have some, like, snob comment. I can't even quote her word for word, but he's just, like, I remember times him, like, expressing to me how frustrated that he was, saying, I do every single thing I can for this girl. I ask her, what's upsetting you? I'll make it better, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she finds, like, any single thing to just be mad at me about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, I witnessed it a lot, too. Like, I don't know.
Did you ever see her hit him? Put her hands on him?
Her hit him.
Like, just go, you know, or throw stuff at him, or...
No.
Actually, now that you
no.
say that, I remember several times now, because my memory's getting jogged, that he would say, Mom, can you get Kenzie out of here? She's
refusing to leave and stuff.
Refusing to leave. She's out of control. She's hit me. I do remember that. And
I never
then
witnessed
I would
it.
get on the phone and say, just leave and go home.
There's multiple times, even pretty, like, recently before all this, that Don would have to call Kenzie's parents, call her mom and stuff, and say, hey, you need to come get Kenzie out of here. Like, she's refusing to leave my house. She's being crazy. And it'd be a situation where they'd be in a fight. Like, you know, keep in mind something stupid that she started. And he's like, listen, he's like, just go home. He's like, we'll hang out tomorrow. It'll be like a whole, like, new thing.
Mm-hmm.
He'd finally, like, get her out. She'd be the type to show back up at his house, pounding on his window. No, I'm coming in, blah, blah, blah. We're talking this shit out right now. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, there's times where that happened and we were in the house hanging out with him. He's like, okay, you guys just gotta go home. You know what I mean? I gotta talk to her. And it's like, I don't know, just really everything behind it, the number one word for it is, like, selfish and self-centered. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really know how to, like, go through arguments properly, doesn't know how to do stuff, like, healthily, wants to...
Would you attribute any of that to her age? What was there, 2 years between her and Dom?
Yeah.
About 2 years.
But...
Because early on, you knew her when she was pretty young, 9th, 10th grade-ish. But let's talk about maybe the last year. Did
her
like
personality get worse, or has it always been steady?
Immaturity thing?
So earlier
or was
years,
it more of just an unstable thing?
Earlier years, I just had more of a relationship with her as her big brother, so I just knew more of what was going on with her, like, directly from her.
Yeah.
Okay? But her behavior never really got better. To me, it almost just got more drastic.
Okay.
Like, before, when she was younger, 9th, 10th grade, she would go home when they were fighting or whatever, and then be texting him saying, oh, I'll hurt myself, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, okay, please don't. We can work this out, whatever, you know? But then it came to the point where she's 16 now, she's driving, she's 17, she's even older, you know? She's driving back over, she's banging on windows. Like, her behavior became more erratic. Maybe also because she had more ways to let it out and to show that, you know what I mean, and to come over or whatever. But, No, she at first there'd be like at first when
And
it
she
first
lives
started.
close to you guys too. She's just down the street there.
Yeah.
So, Angelo, have you ever been a passenger while she was driving?
Oh my gosh, I can't no, never once.
Okay. Do you know anything about her driving? Anybody ever describe her driving to you?
I mean, she's told me. I've heard her say that she thinks she's a great driver. I forget who told me. I don't think it was Don. It might have been his buddy Blair told me that she's a terrible driver. No, never really like. I'd have to bring it up. I didn't really internalize it if I did have a convo about her driving. All I know is I never really wanted to get in a car with her, just because like not like saying like, oh, she's crazy and she'll crash the car on purpose or something. Like obviously I wasn't thinking that at the time, but just her high strung anxiety. Like she's just like a really high strung person. I don't know if that's the kind of person I want to be in the car with. You know what I mean? She kind of like has moments where she like obviously like loses her composure.
Blair said, and I just have to repeat the way he says, is that bitch drives crazy. She would be speeding. And
Oh,
him and,
yeah.
And he
I
said
would
that
hear about her
Dom-
speeding and driving crazy too. Actually,
Him
from
and
Blair.
Dom would bitch at her about the speeding.
Who did you say went to West Virginia with them?
Oh, it was Florida, the mother.
Oh, Florida. That was her mom, but didn't your ex and somebody go down and meet them down?
Me.
You met them down. Did she fly to Florida? Her and Dom fly to Florida? They drove?
They drove together like two
They
cars.
drove in tandem with, so it's her and Dom and then
The mom.
her mom and, okay. But you guys flew down and met them down there.
No, we also drove.
Oh, you did drive. Okay.
Yeah, me and my dad, we already had I guess they already had some trip planned where they were going to Orlando. And my dad wanted to, we never took like a vacation, just me and him. So he's like, hey, let's get in my car. We'll go hit Destin, go see your Aunt Sherry. And then Clearwater was right in in between
Yep.
like Fort Myers and Orlando. So then we met in Clearwater. I don't know, for a day, you know, like me and my dad, Dom, Kenzie's mom, her
Okay.
mom, and her sister.
Okay.
What was she like down there?
The
If
reason.
you remember.
Oh, go ahead. I don't interrupt.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. I remember it was like a huge project. We barely even got to hang out because we got down there. You know, Clearwater, it's busy, right?
Uh-huh.
So Kenzie's driving, right? Kenzie refused to let Dom drive, and so she's driving the car, and so we're going this way. There's a big like roundabout on the main road of Clearwater. And it goes in both directions. And most of the shops are all like this way.
Mm-hmm.
So going down the roundabout, we kept saying turn right, right? She went around the roundabout twice, like, and ended up going like had to turn back around, come back and missed it again, and before she finally went the right way, we're turning around, saying just stay where you're at. We'll just like come to you. We're driving back. They don't listen. Keep driving this way now. They're over here now. We got to come back. It took us 45 minutes just to even figure out where they were going. Then we didn't even get parked together, okay? Because then after all this driving around and all this trying to figure out like how to pull up next to each other, finally Kenzie just decides that she's starving and needs something to eat. And Dom says, okay, like now I have to take Kenzie to get some food. And hold on.
So when you and your dad drove down, you did not caravan with them. You were on your own timeline, essentially.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
just meeting at the
Alright.
beach, you know.
Okay.
And we all met up in one spot before going to the beach, and we just decided they decided more like it'd be easier to just drive separate.
Did Dom tell
And
you
just-
anything about her driving down there? We heard an incident that happened on the way to Florida. Did he mention anything to you about that? Involving
think
her
so.
driving?
Incident on the way to Florida.
Something about her driving.
Say something about it. You might like jog my memory. I'm not really sure.
Just, the unsafe driving to where,
Speeds.
speeds and, kind of closing up on people to where he might have not felt safe to actually come back. Anything about that?
I think I remember him saying something to me about how he drove mostly,
Okay.
and because it was more comfortable. But I don't think he went into detail about it. About did something to you about it or something?
Mm-mm.
No. Has anybody, or is that just like?
No,
you're just asking?
again, one of the things is we got a lot of the kids
I think
telling
he
us
told
things,
me.
and we were just trying to sort what
I think he told me he drove
he
mostly
drove
the whole
most
way.
of it. Okay.
So like obviously though, in that like obviously you'd split up driving
Mhm.
unless you just feel more comfortable driving. So that kind of already like let me know. I mean, I don't know. I was nervous to begin with, and so was my dad. Even before like they left, saying Dom and Kenzie driving, just them, because like Kenzie's, we've already said enough about like her driving, and then Dom. It's not like he's the greatest driver either. Like he's a decent driver, but he's got all this hair in his face and stuff, and brushing his hair, like trying to see and shit. It's like I was nervous about either of them driving all that distance, to be honest, but not like in terms of Dom being crazy or anything. Just
Right.
like you know,
So
being lackadaisical.
I got
How
you.
he is sometimes.
So the just to be kind of very clear cut with this, recently, I'd say maybe 2022, did Dom say anything to you about being concerned for his safety? Not maybe something malicious, but something like, hey, you know what, this girl's gonna get herself killed, or get somebody killed, or get some innocent driver or pedestrian, somebody killed because of her driving. Anything that maybe, any conversations like that between just, two brothers, chopping it up?
She'd make threats. He'd definitely say that she's the kind of person to follow through with those threats.
He believed she would follow through?
Yeah, not like, I mean, obviously everybody makes false threats and empty threats and stuff like that. But some of the stuff he would or she would say, I do remember him telling me, yeah, Kenzie's crazy. She would actually probably do that shit.
So, since the crash and the passing of Dominic, has she been in contact with you? Has she reached out to you?
She texted me multiple times. I could read you the text word for word. She never once said, I'm sorry for your loss. She never once said, I'm so sorry for what happened. She never once took any responsibility. Not even having to take any responsibility. Just saying, I'm sorry Dom's gone. Like anything.
Mm-hmm.
But she asked me for forgiveness about 10 times. Saying,
Really?
I hope that you forgive me. I still want to be a part of your family. Listen, I'll just show you the text and make it easy. I would rather you see the text, because these disgusting.
Well, he's looking for that, so I don't forget. I don't even know if this is even relevant.
I didn't even open the last ones. I'm opening them now though for you guys. But these literally disgusted me.
We went canoeing last year. I took off work. I went to court, and we were all four. Me and Dom and Kenzie were going to go canoeing. So I packed snacks for the canoe and cooler and all that. So we had a bag that had like chips and that sort of thing that was supper. You didn't put in the bags so they'd crush. Well, we forgot. She ruined the entire canoe trip. She sat there and threw a fit that we had forgotten those chips, that she had nothing to eat.
Tantrums.
And I kept saying, we're enjoying our day. There's no fighting. We will find something for you to eat. We even stopped at the one bar. Remember
She
that?
was not satisfied with anything.
No, nothing. It didn't matter what
Yeah.
I had. It was not, she did not have those chips, okay? So we ended up stopping at one of the places that was like a bar, restaurant or whatever, and finally fed her or whatever. But the whole, and Dom was just stressed out this whole time, just because she was so pissed about those chips. And the thing, she was very
Just some chips.
crafty on how she would do stuff, because she would stick her dig. Me and Andrew in a canoe, they're there. She would stick her digs and her comments so that we couldn't hear. And all as I would ever say, I always try to be neutral, because I'm always thinking, well, these kids are going to break up, but they're going to get back together, and then I'm going to say something that's going to damage the whole thing. And I would just say, there's no fighting. We're having a great day. We're canoeing. We'll get through it. We'll find you something to eat. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just a big tantrum. I mean, everything was a tantrum. You forgot chips. Okay, I get it. Do you know what I mean? But that is not enough to be a tantrum to ruin the day.
Okay.
So Dom was 20, right? He couldn't even come next door to eat his mom's dinner half the time, because Kenzie would cry about how her food would have to be like gluten-free, everything, like all that, And as a 20-year-old kid, and he's like the man, he's cooking for her every single night. And then also like, even just in terms of like relationship, not even like anything to do with anything else, I witnessed so many times him saying to her, like, I cook for you every night. Can't you at least just, like, clean some stuff or like,
Yeah.
do the dishes? And then she'd be like, make it like a thing. Like, this is like one of the things where I'm saying that she's petty. That she'd be like, oh, I'll do the dishes after you start being nice to me again. And he's like, how am I being mean to you or something? It'd be like, it wouldn't even make any sense. It'd just be like, okay, like, I'm going home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of these days. I'm just going home, you know?
Can we see those texts when she did not express
Oh, yeah.
you know,
First,
remorse or apology or anything?
I wanted you to kind of note how long it was since we talked before this. She texted me on August 6th, okay? Before that, the last time she texted me was May 7th.
Okay, let me write this down. So May 7th.
Was the last time she texted me, and it was just to say Dom's phone died. The last time she texted me before that was she was asking me if I could do homework for her because she was too lazy to do her math work.
Wow.
And
So,
I mean, honestly, like,
May 7th, and then when was the next time after May 7th? What was the date?
August 6th, after the crash.
Okay.
That was the day she got her phone back.
And you could read it. This is what she said word for word.
August.
You want to read it out loud so we can hear it?
No,
Hey,
it's okay.
I'll read it for here. It says, "Hey Angelo, that's August 6th, 4:14 p.m. Hey Angelo, I don't know if you hate me, but tomorrow for the funeral, would you be able to go in Dom's room and grab some photos from his desk for me and him so I could put them into the casket so he can be with me forever?"
Doesn't say sorry, doesn't say nothing, doesn't say anything. It says, hey Angelo, I don't know if you hate me, but can you go grab pictures of us and put them in his casket so I could be with him forever? How, like, honestly, how psychotic does that sound? That sounds fucking twisted. She texted me again after that, and all just to say, please let me know. Then she texted me again, August 23rd. Actually, she did say sorry one time. First time that she ever said this. She said, here, you can read it if you want.
It says, "Hi Angelo, I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. I know you probably think this is all my fault, and I'm not asking you to feel bad for me, but I just wanted to say I'm so sorry, and I know you miss him so much. I wish he was here too. This should have never happened. He loves you so much, and I know.
Yeah, I know.
You know that. I don't even know what to say to you or just feel so bad. I hope you guys can forgive me because I'll always look at you guys as family. You don't even need to respond to me. Just wanted you to know I'm so sorry." Okay.
But see, even these texts that she sent me, even in this one, okay, it maybe would have been something if it's like, hey, if it was just I'm so sorry, you know. But then she has to go just one line. It's one sentence of I'm so sorry, and then it goes, I know you probably think this is all my fault, and I'm asking you to feel bad for me. Why would I feel bad for you in this situation? How to take you one sentence of saying sorry and then just to go to that, and then you're gonna say,
I know that since we gave her
it's
phone
like,
back
and then she
to
says,
her,
I hope you guys can forgive me. In the first text where you finally apologize, right? So I'm finally saying I'm sorry I killed your brother. I hope that you forgive me. How's forgiveness and me feeling bad for you even on your mindset? Like, how is it even on? Like, how's it even on there? It should literally be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I about the pain. Like, it should all be about who you're texting.
She's worried about what you think of her, so she's using the I'm
It's
sorry
everything.
as a buffer.
Like the whole entire consistency of her is just she's just self-absorbed and self-centered. Everything that she texts me, even if she's finally saying I'm sorry, it's about her. It's not even about me.
So, I know since we gave her the phone, she's been back active on social media and all that. Any of your friends screenshot you anything? Have you, you know, we've received some photos of her in the wheelchair out and about.
I could definitely get some screenshots. I'm not on social media much at all.
Okay.
But the first thing I did hear of, and at the time, we didn't even know if this was her mom or her or what, because we didn't even know if she was even awake to use a phone. We didn't know how severe her injury was or anything, you know. And the first thing I seen from her, she didn't text my mom, she didn't text me, she didn't text my dad, she didn't text anybody in my family. The first thing I seen from her contacting anybody was she texted a modeling agency that reached out to her and said something. And she went on Instagram.
Flanagans.
But that was before even, like, you're going to go and reach out to a modeling agency on Instagram about them wanting to use your picture before texting
Several people in middle
Yeah.
school that.
many people in between that should have gotten that text beforehand. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, like her mom, her dad has still never even texted me once. I already previous to this had somewhat of a relationship with her mom, talking about her daughter's issues or whatever, and what I think or whatever, and you know, and it wasn't like we never talked before. You know what I mean? I'd come say hi to her in the driveway. You know what I mean? When she was dropping her off, and before she was driving, that was a while ago, but
But she definitely has your number. She could have
she's
reached out.
never said not even a word, not a peep, neither from her dad or nothing. You know what I mean?
Do you?
I was just gonna say that, just a thought that she always is concerned about who hates her. So again, like I have to see her at the cemetery all the time. Now she's been sort of telling me when she's going, so I've been able to kind of avoid it. But I'm still talking to her. Told you I would.
That's right.
Well, plus she dangles all the pictures of Dom and videos and claims she just found this. Let me send this to you. And I know, just, come on. That's her way of just here to keep talking. But anyway, the one kid came over and introduced himself, said he never knew Dom, but he was good friends with Davion. They had met at Grace Church and blah, blah, started talking. And, you know, so I said I'm Dom's mom, and Mackenzie was there, and there was another lady there with her daughter. And I think the dad was there again. And she said, well, just thank you so much for not hating me. And then every time, I'm just so scared to be here. Everybody in Strongsville hates me. I don't know what to do. And I said, I'm sure that people don't hate you. You know what I mean? But she went to that concert in the wheelchair that Cub Kitty or whatever his name is.
Kid
and,
Cudi.
And and she was there with her girlfriends and the one girlfriend's mom too. And they had her in the front row, and then she was getting piled on, I guess, because they get all, and I'm hearing this all from her, okay?
They should not be in a wheelchair and be at a concert.
They were all
you know?
piling in. I guess they do this dancing and they squish up and everything. So, you know, the monitors had to move her to the wheelchair to a different section and all of that. But, yeah. So, and I forget the
So
girl's name.
which
Lilly,
concert was that? Because there's
Kid Cudi.
there's two that she's been to.
Listen,
Oh,
and
there's
listen,
two. I
just
only
for
This
the
is
record,
Nautica.
This is the one at the Nautica Pavilion.
listen, here's the thing too.
We got pictures
like
from
Kid Cudi.
somebody from Strongsville who was there. Texted us.
And here's the thing though too is like Kid Cudi, like I love Kid Cudi. Like when I was like, you know, like younger, and he's like all talking about Cleveland, like Cleveland is the reason, all this stuff, blah blah blah, and really like kind of took like a different edge to, like, he was like a rapper, but it wasn't rap. He wouldn't be talking about violence or anything like that. He'd be talking about like, you know, like communities and like himself and like stuff like that, you know, and like a little bit about pot and stuff like that too. But and I love a Kid Cudi. I was so distraught. I heard about the concert in June, and I was so distraught. I completely forgot until the day of the concert. People are going to the Cudi concert, and I'm kind of thinking like, dang, I wish I would have like remembered about that. But then also it's like I don't even care. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's even like you have that much in you to like remember all these plans and like go do all this stuff. It's like, dude, it wasn't like, it's not like it's like your mom's like birthday. Like, yeah, like, you're not gonna like forget that. But it's like you remember to go to a Kid Cudi concert and get a ride in your wheelchair down here and like go through all that work to go see a concert. But I get like 2 texts from you ever, and you don't even like say something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just like where,
do me
like,
a favor.
where her mind's at just does not seem right to me at all. To be honest,
I'm gonna leave my card with you, but if anybody does send you texts, we told people send them to us because I'm putting them in my report, showing them to Tim, just to kind of establish that pattern that, you know, since, you know, I don't want to say she's moving on, but she doesn't seem to care enough.
Since this tragedy, she's just gone on
been
living her
just
life.
out and about, and so just you know, even if you're not into it, just maybe text it to mom, have mom get them to me via email so I can attach them to
screenshots, stuff
the
like
yeah
that, you know, she's doing
screenshots.
and everything.
Because I had those ones where she's begging me to go in the house. That's what's even creepier.
Right.
That they're gonna call you guys about getting her stuff. She has not once said. She said to me, "Well, do you think Angelo's gonna go in there and destroy my things?" This is what she said, and I said, "No, Angelo's not gonna destroy anything." And she, I said, "I can always get together what you have or something like that." She goes, "But I want to go in there." And she goes, "Can't you just sneak me in and not tell anybody?" and I just want to spend the day there because November 14th is our anniversary. And I'm just like, I can't even walk in there.
Makes you think, what's in there that she wants?
So bad. Or why does she want, and how could you
Did
do
Dom
that?
keep cash in there?
We looked, that's one thing, he
The-
just had nothing.
Okay.
I know you were in Florida at the time of the tragedy here, but any idea why they were going down Progress to Alameda? Do you know in the past if they've used this as a shortcut to get somewhere?
Well, yeah, it tells me that they were coming, I forget if it's south or north or whatever, Pearl. Obviously, they were coming towards 82,
Mm-hmm.
down Pearl, and then that's just a little cut through. You go, they end up on Westwood.
Right, but I know. Do you know why they were taking that? Is this like a normal?
It's a normal cut through, yeah.
Normal cut through
Just,
she's always taken.
I mean, the reason that I use it is just because avoid all the Pearl lights. Because you hit Pearl and you go light, light. You turn down Progress, you go right down Prospect. You have 2 lights, and then you're home. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
So that's the reason why I take it.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume it's the same reason.
Okay.
One thing I can tell you about that, or that I was curious about, like obviously just to wrap up a lot of what I was saying, you know what I mean? For one, like I heard that Dom was riding in the back seat. That's not true. So he was in the front seat.
Okay, well, that was what we were told I told you that from the funeral director said that.
That's wrong. He was front seat passenger.
Front passenger.
Okay.
And Davion was in the back.
Okay.
Okay.
She said that another thing I can fill you guys in, and she said she went to a psychic, 3 days ago. I have to look at my phone, and so I said, well, what did he say? Because I'm trying to get everything in writing. She goes, oh, no, you have to call me. Well, she said basically nothing, but what she did go on to say was that, the psychic made it very clear to her that the accident was caused because she swerved left. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just telling you, this is the latest story. Okay.
That's her story. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Tell her to stick to that.
Yeah. I mean,
Tell her to stick to that.
yeah. So that was the other thing. And you guys also need to be aware, which I don't.
Wait, but listen, here's the thing I don't get. She said that the psychic told her to swerve left.
No, that she swerved left.
And that's why it happened.
Mhm.
Well, she swerved right off the road.
I'm just telling you. I don't
And
know the
then-
details. I'm just repeating what I'm finding out.
Mhm.
And now you made me forget what else I wanted to say besides
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry.
It's okay about the psychic. Oh, you guys should know that. So Dom's birthday was Saturday, and he always went to dinner with his friends every year. That was a tradition. And there's times that there was family there, and sometimes it was just the friends. So I told my ex that you're welcome, but we're just gonna, I guess what are we gonna do? And I said, we're gonna go to dinner with his friends, just like he would if you're welcome, but nobody else when I'm inviting. It's just what Dom would have done or whatever. So the dad got all pissed off. He threw a huge birthday party at his daughter's house, cake, the whole bit, put up boards, put up pictures, and invited the whole Shirilla family was there.
That was
Dom's dad.
Dom's dad did this.
Your ex did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I told you I don't, and again, he's the one who thinks that he's been told from,
voodoo, whatever.
He said that the pendulum told him to forgive Kenzie to the fullest and that it's not her fault or something. And that he said literally that day, I'm going to forgive her. And like, I haven't even been talking to him because he's just honestly such an idiot to be like, in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what he could be thinking or whatever. But I mean, even for example, right? There was a situation where my cousin Antonio, right? He's 24, 25 years old, I forget. This is when I'm like 16. He's on the front of a boat, sitting on front of a boat, and the driver hits a buoy, in the water, cuts his legs off, he bleeds out, he dies. The driver's found with MDMA in his blood, besides from alcohol and like all this other stuff, like you're thinking that he's gonna get some time, My dad nonstop talked every day that this guy would come up about how much of a piece of shit he was and how they wants to see him burn in jail and all this stuff. Well, the guy got put on like a 5-year probation with like a 15-year suspended sentence if he messed it up, and he ended up like beating up and robbing some old guy or something. And I don't even know how you like end up doing that, but did that, and then goes back to court. And my Aunt Nicole, Antonio's mother, is this court case is in Florida. This is where like this happened at. So she's in, up in Ohio, and she's on the video cam crying, as a whole like written testimony saying about how she wants him to get the maximum time, all this stuff, right? I'm there. This court date finally just got wrapped up in the end of April. So just now in the end of April of this year, like however many like years later, because the case was so long, the guy got sentenced to like 10 years in prison, right? My dad's like, at least he got 10 years, by which he has his whole fucking life in there, blah, 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 blah. So that's somebody, pretty identical situation. Somebody who killed somebody's son and our family in a crash while they were driving. Doesn't matter if they're high, sober, whatever, but that's what happened. Everybody hates this dude's guts years later, and they want to see him burn in hell. But Kenzie does this, my dad talks to some freaking Ouija board, and he forgives her. I think it's pretty freaking screwed up, to be honest with you. And it's like,
there's a lot of things, and it could be grief. It could be maybe she's something to hold on to that was close. Who knows?
But he never even hung out with her.
He
didn't.
No, it's not even that. He's been texting me saying that I'm not going to be happy until I let go of the hate in my heart. And I'm telling him it's not about having hate in your heart. Somebody killed your son. Someone killed my brother. It doesn't even seem like it was an accident. It seems like she took it upon herself to ram that car into that wall against both of their wills. You know what I mean? I know Dom.
Let me ask you before you go any farther off that point. Everything you know aside, everything you've heard from people, everything you've heard here, you as a grown man, are you saying that's your gut feeling?
What do you think happened, basically?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's 100%. Since like, I mean,
Hold
listen,
on.
like, since
What do you think happened?
That night.
I think that I mean, off of what I know and off my assumptions, I think that they were in some kind of fight. Dom tried to break up with her multiple times, even in July. They kept not like working out, whatever. They kept making back up. The only thing I could really think of is they were obviously in some kind of argument. Kenzie's known to be the kind of person that she's let us know she will never let go of Dom, and if she has to let go of Dom, she will not go on living herself. She's pretty much let that be known. And the whole thing that I think of is you're going 94 miles an hour. You don't have a very fast car to begin with. You were stomping that gas pretty much that whole entire time. There's no brake marks on the street at all. Even before the hit, you would think that some type of instinct would kick in and you'd slam on the brakes. But to my knowledge, she went straight into it. To me, it seems like they might have been in a fight. Maybe not even arguing. I think if it was like vicious arguing if it was vicious arguing while she was driving, he would have tried harder to spin the wheel. So I could think of it maybe they were lightly arguing, and she starts racing. He's trying to talk her down, saying like relax. She might have, I don't know what she had in her head. Okay, I know that we're breaking up, blah, 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 this and that. I don't know what she could have possibly been thinking, but I can't go into details, obviously, because I have no idea. But whole idea, like main points, I think that they were in a fight. I think that she took it upon herself to purposely crash into that wall. I think that he must have been trying to talk her down the whole time. They swerved off to the right at the end. I think he might have grabbed the wheel towards the end of it, maybe trying to spin him or something. Who knows? She could have been bear hugging it. I don't know. They're hitting bumps too. They're going 90. He could have not, like, I don't know what's going through his head, But I do know that Dom never once in his life ever expressed to me any form of I want to kill myself, I want to die, ever. He wanted to do so much stuff. He wanted to start up his own like shampoo lines, his own conditioner lines. He wanted to start up clothing lines. He wanted to get big in the music industry. He loved real estate. Like he was trying to get into buying houses. Like he had too many plans and too many goals for his life to plan anything like that. She's the only person who I've ever seen around him say, I will kill you and I will kill myself if this and this happens.
Okay.
Like when she's not with him, like I mean, there's been situations even like the week before. There was two situations where he had to get picked up on the highway because they couldn't drive together. You know what I mean?
What type of we don't care about pot, but what kind of drugs do you know about her using?
I pretty much, honestly, just to my knowledge, just pot and occasionally alcohol. But I think even like recently, she's not been a big smoker at all because like I'd be over at the house and like even Dom was even barely smoking. In the month of July and stuff, he just was getting over it, kind of like he didn't really have as bad of problems with his ankle anymore, you know. And his problems, it wasn't like muscle or bone problems. He had like bad nerve problems.
Yeah.
Like really bad like nerve issues and stuff. And so he was like pretty much like getting over that, and I pretty much barely seen him smoking at all. And then Kenzie, I think like she was getting sick off of it or something. Like some people have I forget what it's called, but you like smoke weed and you throw up, or you want to throw up at least, makes you sick or whatever. So to my knowledge, like she was pretty much not smoking.
So any talk about acid
she wasn't
or
really a drinker.
shrooms, anything like that?
I heard rumors after the crash about there being acid involved and mushrooms and like all this shit.
You've never seen it though.
I don't believe that's the case.
What about medical? Did you ever see her pass out? Did Dom ever mention, we're sitting here and all of a sudden she just passed out? Anything of that sort? Did you ever witness anything? How about you, Miss Russo?
No, not at all.
No, nothing,
Never
like,
heard, never
narcolepsy or
seen
nothing
any
like that.
type of medical issue? Okay.
The only things that we knew, and Ange just repeated it, and he sort of described the same thing I knew last, was the issue that's some condition with the marijuana. But I thought
she
that
wasn't
was,
really
but
like-
I
yeah.
thought that was a while ago. I thought she was over that, and then this gluten-free thing with her stomach,
Gotcha.
Food issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
the food issues. But no other. She tried telling me the other day that she had some other medical conditions, and I think that was just fluffing to try to. Why wouldn't it have ever been mentioned to me before?
Gotcha.
Now he's dead, and you're going to mention this at the cemetery. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think they're trying to come up with some other things, but I don't know. The parents went out and bought her that car. They bought her that car before she had her license. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you have a kid that you're worried about some sort of condition of driving, that was even just like with Christopher. I'm sure Christopher liked to drive, but I used to be nervous because of his mental health. So I've just never allowed him to get a driver's license.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Makes
simple as
sense.
that, you know?
If she had those conditions, those parents she is their golden child. They treat the other sister like a piece of crap. She's the pretty one. She's the smart one. She's the other one's got problems. Like they just everything. It doesn't matter how outrageous. The only reason that they ended up going to Florida, because her mom wasn't going to go, and I even said, well, I didn't know the whole thing. I remember I was in and out of the hospital, so stuff was planned when I wasn't around. Was they didn't think that they could check in because they weren't 21. So then the mother decided, well, I'll just go with you then before. Originally, she was just going to drive down there to check them in and leave.
Yeah.
This is the
I heard
stuff.
that, and I was like,
do.
what?
They are out of control with her.
Oh, listen
with
though.
her.
And she was a juvenile at that point.
I didn't get to finish what I was saying about her smoking and drinking. Her drinking though, like the only times I've ever seen her drink, it's not like she's drinking liquor or anything like that. She's type drink like a Smirnoff Ice, like one of those like sugary malt beverages. You know what I mean? Drink like 2 of them and be fine. You know what I mean? So not be fine would be like buzzed or whatever. Or like, but like she wasn't really like.
I mean, she's
Getting
tiny.
slammed.
Yeah, not a drinker really, not really a smoker either, honestly.
Is there anyone else you think we need to talk to besides Hench? Anybody you think would be? And again, like I told Mom, a lot of people are not talking to us, but
a lot of other people I could think of. It wouldn't be anybody that could like have new information for you.
Gotcha.
That would say like, oh, this and this happened or whatever. But I know a lot of people that, I mean, obviously like my buddies would all probably. I mean, I'd have to. I've talked to a couple of them about it, and they all think like my one buddy thinks that she did it on purpose too, and thinks that this and that.
We're trying to avoid a lot of like second, third, fourth hand knowledge. We're looking more for somebody who was close with Dom, who would have some kind of first hand knowledge.
Yeah, no, this buddy I'm talking about was close with Dom. They talked often. You know what I mean? But
listen, you got my card. Take a picture of it. Send it to some of your buddies. Encourage them to come talk to us. We can't compel anyone to talk. The few people who we think we need to talk to who are not going to talk to us are going to get subpoenaed to the grand jury. The prosecutor is going to make them come talk. But not to the police. They're going to talk directly to the prosecutor. But some of their friends are refusing to.
Some of
Mackenzie's friends, yes, are refusing to be forthcoming.
Right.
And I did tell you about her hitting him in the car when he hit the mailbox and stuff like that. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the other thing I was just thinking of? I said that about. I did bring up the girl that she supposedly pushed down the steps, right?
Yes. We have. There's a Snapchat about that she recorded.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, wait. I remember hearing about the situation. Obviously.
The big
when did the story turn into that?
Okay, so the big story was this girl fell down the steps, blah blah blah. I said, "Oh, how did she fall?" And blah blah. She had no alcohol in her system.
We have a guardrail and everything.
Yeah, and there's a handrail, and then as time went on, Kenzie was the one that told me personally. She said that these girls were really out to get her because they are accusing her of pushing this gal down the steps. I said, well, why in the world would you ever push that girl? I wouldn't push that girl down the steps. Just didn't think of nothing at the time. But after the fact, I'm sitting there thinking, and I had asked that Houston when he called me. I said, do you hear that she pushed this girl down the steps? Houston believes she pushed her down the steps. Again, I know he's a little crazy or whatever, but he was the one that said that too.
Houston thinks that Kenzie pushed her down
Pushed
the steps
that girl down the
firsthand.
steps. That's when she had that concussion and everything. She fully recovered, but it was a serious thing.
I know, it was fucked up.
Yeah.
So the mailbox
I wasn't
incident.
there, but yeah, Don told me all about it. It was
That's
like a
when I was
horror
in the
story. He
hospital.
told me that.
Do you remember when, tentatively?
Yeah, it was
Hey, do you know something too? Because obviously this doesn't have to do with anything to. I mean, it has to do with something kind of, but nothing really. But that situation too with that girl, he told me that if he wasn't there, that was just like somebody else's house, she probably would have died. Like he said that he ran downstairs and started like supporting her head because she was leaking from her face, so she wouldn't like drown in like her blood and stuff. He said that some of her friends started grabbing her, shaking her, smacking her, telling her to wake up, started like trying to drag her up the stairs. They started freaking out, like this and that. He said that most people just ran out the house, dipped, just fled the scene, you know what I'm saying? He said that fucking, like right off rip, he's like calling ambulance, supporting her, holding her up, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, he told me his whole body was covered in blood, because he was just helping around and shit. And then, I didn't know that she made a full recovery. Thank God, because I was really worried. I remember hearing that she might have brain damage and all this stuff. And in a situation like that, you know, after the initial injury, it really does matter a lot on how you care for the person.
Right.
After that, you're really sensitive. If your head's swollen or whatever, that's really tender, and you know what I mean. But
I want to say March.
March of this year, 2022. Okay. Well, here's so I'm gonna transcribe all these notes, and if I have any follow-up questions, you mind if I reach back out to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Like I said, just encourage whoever some of your friends are, whoever might have firsthand knowledge of Mackenzie threatening, or maybe Dom confiding in somebody about Mackenzie making threats or being suicidal, something of that sort. You know, encourage them to reach out to us. Chris Hench. Would he be willing to talk to? I just want to figure out the whole.
Yeah, I can bring him here because he right now doesn't have an operating vehicle. So, she also always says to me all the time that it should have been me. It should have been me.
It's like
that died in that crash, and I think that was kind of a weird. Like I said when my son died, I wish, why didn't I die in the hospital? You could have taken me. I'm older, not him. That sort of thing. I wish it was me. That's not how she says. She says it should have been me, and I think that that's a weird way to characterize.
How well did you know Davion?
Actually, I met Davion for the first time like a week before, maybe a couple days before I left for Florida, you know? And my knowledge to Davion is that like Dom, so like me and Dom, like the last year or so, we just haven't been hanging out as much as we normally would. To honestly, mostly all to do with Kenzie. Like he's always doing something for Kenzie, doing something with Kenzie. Can't hang out with me because of Kenzie, whatever, you know. And there was like a lot of times I'd call him. I'd be like, you know, like what are you up to? Yada yada yada. And he's like, oh, I'm hanging out with Davion and Blair and Kenzie or whatever, you know. The first time I met Davion, he was working on Dom's Jag. Like I think he was just detaching a battery and putting in like a new battery and stuff like that. And I walked up to him, said, "What's up?" There's I don't know if you ever heard of like the rapper like Moneybagg Yo. Probably not. He's like a mainstream like rapper, you know. But he kind of like looked like him. So I'm like, "Oh, it's Moneybagg." I'm like, "Why don't you guys bring Moneybagg over here?" You know. I'm like, you know, like having a good time with him. And then seemed like a really like good kid. Obviously, like very caring. You know what I mean? Like chill, all that. That was the one time I met him. I can't really say much about Davion.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna turn this off. Thank you for coming in.
Give a fuck about